Whatever time you click on this reading is the right time for you, and I thank you in advance for your viewership and support. This was a situation that we tapped into last night on allegedly Wednesdays, and I tapped out of the energy because it got really, really heavy, and it was kind of sad. So if you're on this video, you've already seen the thumbnail and the title of this reading, and this reading is for entertainment purposes only. All things said are alleged, allegedly. So, yeah, oh Lord, where do I go? Where do I start? So, if you heard the spaces yesterday between Cardi B and Armand Wiggins, it went to a really toxic, shameful, dark place. And I feel like it needs to be discussed. And the reason why it needs to be discussed is because Cardi does and says a lot that goes unchecked. And you can't blame everything on pregnancy and hormones, because a lot of this behavior she had long before she was pregnant. So there were some things that was said, and it made me wonder, as far as Ken Barbie is concerned, how did this make him feel? Because it seems like when Cardi gets offended with one person, she insults the entire group of people that that person comes from, the whole entire diaspora. She brought in Angela Yee into the situation to where it's like, are you taking, jabs at Angela Yee because she's no longer with the Breakfast Club? So you don't believe that, she has any power, any backing because she's not with the Breakfast Club anymore? I don't know. Um, she made comments where she talked about, I let him live, as if she had control over, Armand's life force being taken from him. That was very disturbing. Armand made some startling um, accusations about Cardi B having him and his mother followed and threatening his life and his safety, and even threatening his ability to grow as an entertainment brand, a podcaster. So we tapped into it last night, and I want to come back and revisit it today with a pair of like a pair of fresh eyes, and give this a deep dive, because I feel like this situation deserves more than just a gloss over. So let's see. Let me get a deck together, and we can go ahead and tap in. All right. Let's see how this is going to affect the relationship between Cardi B and Ken Barbie. There are a lot of things said that were against the LGBTQ community, which he is a part of. And this is not the first time. So I want to see how Ken Barbie feels about some of these things that were said by Cardi, and if he takes it personal or if he's taking it in stride, and how this will affect their relationship. Show me Kim Barbie's feelings towards Cardi's comments. Okay, the High Priestess, Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles doesn't just represent money and abundance, it also represents a relationship. My apologies, y'all, if the heat is a little loud. It was cold today, so I was cutting my heat on. So we got the High Priestess here, and the High Priestess represents high level secrets and keeping things quiet, keeping things to yourself. Okay, so he may not ever talk about how he feels before the public. Hold on, let me adjust this light. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, he may not ever talk about how he feels in this situation, but it is very apparent that there are feelings, and he has to consider this working relationship as well, not just the overall, you know, relationship between them, because Kim Barbie is about his money. Three of Cups. So wow, so it's like secretly behind the scenes, there's a lot of gossip. Even, could have been like celebratory moments between the both of them until these messages started coming out very swiftly, or till, the feedback came back. Hold on. Two of Pentacles. So he's in a place of indecision. He's juggling with what he should do, how he should move forward. He knows he has to make a stance. Ace of Wands. He even has to admit to himself that this was very aggressive. Two of Swords. Yeah, he's juggling with cutting her off. He's thinking about how this will affect the bigger picture for him and work, the relationship, but he's really struggling with the idea of cutting her off. Knight of Pentacles, the Hangman, Death. So this is letting me know that, like, he's been in this situation. It's like it's been dragging on, and he's at a standstill. But he knows eventually he's going to have to free himself from this relationship, whether he wants to or not. Excuse me, I'm trying to get the right angle so y'all can see everything. Okay, I think that's better. Yep, I think that's better. There we go. Yeah, so he's struggling with how he wants to move forward with this situation. He knows without a shadow of a doubt that he's going to have to move forward from this situation, but he doesn't know how to do it. So it's like whatever this is going on between them, it's literally been dragging on, dragging on, dragging on, and it's starting to slowly turn into a nightmare. Okay, Five of Cups, deep shame, humiliation, and regret. And I've gotten this in his energy before. It's like he regrets that he took this opportunity when it's all said and done. Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is an interesting card because it's not just about being sneaky. It's like being calculated. So he may be trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this situation. And literally, Seven of Swords is being tactical, being strategic. Laura, Kim Barbie. Okay. Three of Pentacles, the High Priestess. Now that's a hell of a combination, because that lets me know that there could be secrets attached to, you know, why he works with her or who he may actually work with behind the scenes. Okay, so independent woman at the bottom of the deck. And when you got the high priestess over the three of pentacles, he knows a lot. And see, the way that Cardi gathers tea on other people, she has to think what goes around comes around. And it feels like Kim Barbie, has a lot of that same energy, but it's like whatever, anything you can do, I can do better. So she needs to be very careful with how she handles him because, honey, Kim Barbie is not for, the faint of heart, okay? I don't see him wanting, to bring her any negativity, any harm, but she needs to be very, very careful and tread lightly with the way that she deals with him. Okay, so Ace of Swords. So yeah, there's a lot of gossip about things that were said, a lot of things that were done, and the truth behind things. Why is he juggling with this situation? Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, he's thinking about everything that he's invested in this situation and everything he's invested in his career and, how things were supposed to manifest for him. And then he would have to consider cutting her off or cutting loose an opportunity so that he could, preserve his brand, so to speak, because now with the Knight of Pentacles to the Hangman to Death, it's forcing him to have to cut her loose because he's losing, he's going to lose money. He's going to lose, different deals and different, opportunities to be able to work with other people outside of her. So it's slowing his money down. Balance through a new beginning, temperance at the bottom of the deck. He's trying to figure out how he can turn this situation around for himself without, losing everything. Four of Cups, unrequited offer. So he doesn't want to cut her off. It's like his hands are tied. His back is against the wall. His hands are tied. He has no other choice. He's got to do what he's got to do. It's like the situation is dragging on. It's something is at a standstill. The money is not moneying, or it's going to get to a point to where it's like this is just not worth it. I can do more on my own working independently than I can do working with you. Seven of Cups. So, he's considering his options, okay? He may have been confused about how he was going to move forward, but he's considering his options. And he has plenty of options lined up for contracts to work with other people that are going to make him a lot more money in the long run, working independently. Five of Cups. What's on the Five of Cups? Seven of Wands. So at this point, it's like he has a lot of regrets. And it's like, it went from, well, she was just trying to stand up for herself. She was just trying to defend herself, Queen of Wands. But now he's starting to look at this from a whole different standpoint because it's like ever since she claimed that she was standing up to the Queen of Wands, which could possibly be Nikki, it's just been a downward spiral, so to speak. And it's like I was with you when it was Nikki, but now it's becoming, too hard to deal with. It's becoming too much to bear. So hold on, I'm going to pull from this oracle deck. What's the gossip? So show me how, the energy is now that she's done the spaces on Armand. Show me the shift. If there's a shift, show me the shift. Okay, so he was like, this was a big break, career turning point, major opportunity, life changing moments. This is it. To spill the tea, gossip, okay, because that's what he does. Spill the tea, secrets exposed, gossip spreading, leaked information. Oops, it's out. Money moves, smart decisions, strategic investments, building wealth, making my money work. Sneaky links, hidden encounters, private meetings, discreet intimacy, nobody needs to know. So, honey, like I said, Kim Barbie's about the money. He's about that almighty dollar. And this opportunity is slowing him down. And he's going to start taking work elsewhere because he's realizing that this is one of those crash and burn situations. It didn't turn out the way he thought it was going to turn out. Hustle mode, grind hard, ambitious drive, determined effort, sleep can wait, and past life, previous connection, unexplained familiarity, soul memory, I've known you before. So this is not just about past life energy. It's like he's looking back on what his life was like, working independently for himself. He thought this was his big break. Yes, I get to go and work for you. I run your social media. And he is working hard because money moves in hustle mode. Like this person got 2 cups of coffee. They're burning the midnight oil. And he's really, really working as hard as he can to make things, shake for her. Fake flex, pretending wealth, showing off borrowed luxuries, deceptive bragging, rich on Instagram, broke in real life. So this did not work out the way that he expected it to. And this is on the Knight of Pentacles, okay? So things are not as they seem, okay? This was like, okay, you sold me a dream at this point. Poker face at the bottom of the deck. So with the poker face, he has to keep up appearances so that he can continue to, keep integrity with his brand, so to speak. Keep from losing face. Mirror, mirror. Facing yourself and others, reflective relationships, self awareness. What you see is you. So, interesting enough, with that on the table, that's letting me know that, you know, there has to be some accountability. And there's been projecting, and there's been, someone, in this situation who is not taking accountability. And also, the both of them can have mirrored behavior to where they can be considered toxic and in the same similar type ways. So it's definitely, looking at the situation from the outside looking in and saying, hey, I got to look at the man in the mirror, hold myself accountable for how I got into this situation. And also, he's realizing that, there's times where Cardi may lack self awareness, commitment issues, afraid to settle down, avoiding intimacy, fear of loss of freedom is complicated. Yeah, he may have even grappled with the idea of taking this job because he's so used to, doing his own thing. But he's like, hey, this is my people. This is going to be my big break. And now he's at the crossroads. Important choices, life-changing decisions. Choose wisely. Your next step matters. So he knows at this point that this situation has come to an impasse, so to speak. It's come to a point to where he has to decide, do I go or do I stay? How does this work? It can't keep going on the way that, it's been going on. Bottom of the deck, plastic smiles, fake kindness, forced friendliness, hiding resentment behind smiles, friends in name only. So they may not be getting along at all. This is the, keeping up appearances so that you kind of like, push through the day, but behind the scenes, it's not what you think. The vibe is definitely not vibing. Payback. You got consequences returning, karma cycle. What goes around, time to settle accounts. Yeah, consequences returning, karma cycle. What goes around, time to settle accounts. So it's like at this point, hustle mode. It's like feeling like everything is backfiring on you. The things that you have put out into the algorithm on others, um, what you thought was going to be your blessing ends up becoming what feels like a curse. Sugar coated, sweet but deceptive words, empty compliments, hidden insults too good to be true. So yeah, this definitely feels like fool's gold. Sold a bill of bad goods. It definitely was not what he thought it was going to be. This whole opportunity seems to be backfiring on him. Friend zone, platonic trap, unreciprocated feelings, stuck as friends like a sibling to me. So we know they're not in a romantic relationship, but what that gives me with fake flex and friend zone is that he could be distancing himself and it's like, oh yeah, we cool, mm-hmm. But they don't really mesh like that. They're not really kicking it like that the way that they used to. There's a disconnect here. And he could be trying to separate himself from this situation behind the scenes while saving face in front of people because this does not feel like they still get along. Ascension, spiritual growth, higher awareness, next level consciousness, elevating myself. So yeah, he's grown beyond this friendship, this opportunity. He wants more out of life. Wake up call, spiritual awakening, sudden clarity, urgent awareness. I can't, what is it? Can't imagine anymore. So definitely, he's had a wake up call, and it's like he's starting to understand that there's a toxicity here that he can't continue to allow himself to take part in. So it's like it's one thing to be with the mess. It's another thing when the mess can be so destructive it can deconstruct your brand. Spills tea, secrets exposed, gossip spreading, leaked information. Oops, it's out. And this falls under money moves and the crossroads, honey. Secret admirer 2, hidden affection, anonymous notes, unknown interest, someone's watching. Cardi, you better watch how you treat this man because he knows a lot about you that other people don't know. And if you step on the toes of Ken Barbie, you will force a tsunami in your life that you do not expect, honey. I don't think that he wants to do anything negative, but you don't know what people can do when they're pushed and provoked. So I definitely wouldn't poke this bear. I would not. Yep, let it go. Releasing grudges, emotional freedom, forgiving yourself and others, free your heart. So this is him releasing this job, what he feels like, maybe guilt or animosity towards how this worked out, and just saying, you know what, it's been real. I think I need to do something else. Situationship, and influencer status. So we got unclear boundaries, mixed signals, more than friends, less than lovers. What are we? Social media, hold on, social recognition, online fame, power to influence, swipe up. So, it's like I said, he sees her like a sister, like a cousin, like family, but it's like it's becoming a strange family. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we can just keep this business, but it's to the point to where keeping it business is uncomfortable as well. So it's very, 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 very uncomfortable the way things are going between the both of them. And he doesn't know how to really balance this situation because when it comes to business, friends and family don't always mix with business. And he's learning a very, very, very important lesson about, keeping business business, removing the personal energy, and taking accountability. So they're it from what this feels like, they're definitely not in a good place, and he's trying to figure out how to separate himself in the most professional way possible, because it just seems like it just keeps backfiring on him. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and it's like Cardi does not take accountability for a lot of the things that she's saying and doing, and he's trying to figure out how he can keep all of this from backfiring on him. So he does feel away, but it just gives me, he's keeping his, opinions to himself. He's trying to keep his head down and keep his nose out of certain things so that he can just push through this until he gets the opportunity that he really, really wants. Because when it's all said and done, I do see him removing himself from this situation, but it's going to be, when the time is right. He's trying to be strategic about how he walks away from this situation, but it just feels like, he's waiting for the perfect time, and there's really no perfect time in this situation. So he may just, up and ghost her, just disappear, because it just keeps, getting worse and worse and worse. Alrighty. So let's see how Cardi feels now that the rant is over that she had on Armand yesterday on Spaces. Show me, how does she feel after the rant is over? Okay, Seven of Pentacles, Five of Wands, Four of Swords. So Seven of Pentacles, and she feels like, pretty much he reaped what he sowed. He sowed into this, and it became bigger than what it had to be. But she's heavily invested, fighting and then bringing this to a rest. Queen of Wands and the Magician. Oh, that's interesting. So that's a new take on it. So it's like, she's heavily invested in making sure that she's seen, she's highly visible, but she also has this idea that, Armand is investing in fighting with her and going back and forth, also possibly allegedly for Nikki. And this is because he's invested in Nikki that he's coming at her this way. Nine of Swords. She has a lot of anxiety, does not sleep, which is not good. Right now may not be the best time for her to be on social media. Seven of Cups. She's considering her options. Considering her options on what? Okay. Five of Swords and the Hangman. So it's like in retrospect, now that everything is over, um, it's like she's realizing that this argument, it could, stifle things for her. But there's some secrets behind this Hangman. Please explain the secrets behind the Hangman. Okay. So Page of Swords is like, messages coming in swiftly. Also, that is the card of people being able to see things unfold. So, Four of Swords and the High Priestess. So, she could be trying to bring things to a rest in a way that could be considered um, closeted, secretive. And there's some things that Armand said that gave her pause, because I don't think she expected Armand to expose certain things about her, things that she's been doing, things that, could be happening behind the scenes. And now she has anxiety over it. Six of Wands. So she's like, you know what? Let them watch, whatever. People see what they see. I'm going to move on towards victory. So she doesn't feel like in the long run this is going to affect her. She thinks that she could just move on and do whatever it is that she wants to do after this. But it definitely gives her pause that she feels like he's, doing things for Nikki. I don't know where she gets that idea, because I didn't see that in his energy. But it also is making her think about how people are seeing her because of certain things that he said that we, the public, didn't know about. So, why is this so much anxiety around what Armand actually said? Why is there so much anxiety around what Armand said? Okay, the world. She thinks that this can bring it into things that she's invested in. But I see, and I got to say allegedly, 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 she's heavily invested in bringing a close to him, bringing him to an end, judgment, okay? And nailing the coffin to his career, and finality for him. Why? High Priestess and the Knight of Pentacles. So this has been going on for a while behind the scenes in secret. It's way more than what meets the eye. It's a lot going on behind the scenes in secret. Um, Queen of Cups, Five of Cups. Hold on, what is this? Page of Pentacles. Yeah, business opportunities. And like Queen of Cups represents not just using your intuition, but being seen as kind hearted, loving. Um, she has regrets because she knows that now people are not going to see her the same, which is going to affect her branding in some type of way. Explain this Nine of Swords, Five of Cups to the Hierophant. So, yeah, she has regrets because she's worried about the legal ramifications of this, and also how the people that actually are over her career sees this, because it feels like it was a wish fulfillment until it got here. And now that he could possibly be taking legal action, or she could be worried about him taking legal action, it has her up, and she's facing a lot of anxiety. I don't even know how to feel about that. Like, you can't keep threatening people and then, feel some type of way when they decide that they legally want to protect themselves. That's not how that works. You can't be a bully and cowardly at the same time. If you're going to bully somebody, you got to stand on it, and it is what it is. Yeah, so the Queen of Pentacles. So she feels like she's established, she has everything that she wants, she needs, um, which, in this energy, it's like, you're beneath me. I will lash out. I will, get you together. Four of Wands, which is the card of engagement, engaging in instability. So, once again, going back to business, new jobs. So, she's not going to stop, possibly, allegedly pulling strings and, using different venues to try to like close paths for him, allegedly. Okay. So, she feels like anytime people watch her, there's engagement, it makes her money. That's all she's concerned about. Everything goes back to money, finances, um, her hustle. That's her wish fulfillment. It's only about, what money she makes out of the situation. This is going to put some things in perspective when she starts to lose jobs, opportunities. Okay. So it's kind of weird because it's like she doesn't mind putting Armand in a position to lose jobs, to lose opportunities. But when it gets to the position to where she starts to lose jobs and opportunities, then this has to be laid to rest. So it definitely feels like it's a wish fulfillment for her. She's very heavily invested in bringing a cycle to a close for Armand. This is the energy that I'm getting. She's hell bent on it. And I'm not the biggest, Armand Wiggins supporter. To me, I feel like there's times when he can be a bit much, but I don't feel that it's okay to, stop him from being able to flourish. Everybody has a platform, has a right to make money as long as it's not hurting anybody. As long as what you're not doing is defaming anyone, you're not harming anybody, you should be allowed to do your commentary because entertainment news is very much a part of entertainment. Celebrities need someone to gossip on them because it's free publicity. It helps to keep your name in the algorithm, which helps you to be able to get those brand deals because they can see your engagement. So I feel like that's way above and beyond, and it's too far. And this is where this becomes really, really nasty. So yeah, when it gets to the point that it starts affecting her brand, people start seeing her as toxic. I think that's what's going to cause her to move on. But definitely, I see Armand leaving this alone because it's going to slow up money for him. It's going to stifle him. He just wants to leave this be. He doesn't want any part of it. But Ten of Pentacles, Five of Cups, the Hierophant. Cardi, I think you finally wrote a check with your mouth that your ass can't cash. Because if you push this man into a lawsuit, you will have to pay him an extremely obscene amount of money. because this has been going on for a while, a long time. So a decision definitely needs to be made about, cleaning up your behavior, um, closing these cycles, or being very, very over the top and disrespectful, because you're going to be in and out of court and you're going to be losing. Four of Cups, unrequited offer to the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, this is going to rock your financial stability. This is going to be, I want to say 2026 is going to be the year of the blogger's revenge. Going from November off into 2026 is going to be vloggers' revenge. So, celebrities that are making frivolous lawsuits, that are suing vloggers are going to start fighting back, and they're going to start winning. Judgment. Yeah. And because this happened in front of everybody, the whole world got to hear it. You can't take this back. People screen record it. They did commentary on it. So you can't say that you didn't say certain things. There will be no spinning of the narrative. This is going to really, really rock your financial stability if you don't stop. So I would suggest to leave this alone. Don't take this any further. Don't say anything else to Armand. If Armand is willing to leave it alone, fall back. Stop threatening him. No one should be following him allegedly, or his family, any of his loved ones. Leave this alone, because this is going to turn into something legally that you don't want, something that you can't handle, and you're not going to win this time because you have a history of what feels like violent behavior. Seven of Swords to the Four of Swords. So that is sneaky, conniving, manipulative energy behind putting something to rest, or bringing jobs to rest for someone that was going to help them to progress and to move forward, which is blackballing someone. And it feels like he has proof. So, once again, keep this out of court, leave this alone. Don't say anything else to him, because you will have to pay for this. You will reap what you sow. Ace of Cups, Three of Swords. So Ace of Cups represents love and abundance, and it's like, this is a wish fulfillment. You love to bring him heartbreak through financial, ruin. But this is what's so crazy. Nine of Wands, the wounded warrior. You did threaten to harm him physically, but what you wish upon others can be returned to you, because you could have heartbreak if you mess around and have to pay him a large judgment, and it causes you some financial restraints, because this has been going on for a long time. This Spaces is not the first time you two got into it. This is a progressive situation that has graduated. Yeah, the Devil. So, yeah, the Devil represents toxicity, obsession, compulsive energy, even when it comes to, how you associate, how you come into people's spaces. So yeah, I would stop. I would stop. Ten of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. You could end up paying a lot of money and possibly going to jail, because this has been going on for a while. Six of Cups. You have a history of this in the past. The Strength card and the Four of Cups. So that right there tells me between now and, the summer, she could really be sorry for what she's manifested, how this has worked out. So if he's willing to leave this alone, I would leave this alone. I wouldn't revisit this. I wouldn't say another word, whether it's an apology or anything. I would just drop it, because this is going to be very, very dire for Cardi B if he is to press charges and take this to court. You said some very, very harsh things that can be considered serious, serious threats on his safety, especially when you said, I let him live. Baby, looks like you literally finally wrote him a check with your mouth that your ass can't cash. So, y'all, I'm going to end it here. And everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you for your viewership and support. Like and hype up my videos, y'all. And I wish you all well. And this is just messed up. This is somebody who's walking backwards out of success because they don't want to, take accountability and fix their behavior. This is an easy fix, but will she do it? We'll just have to wait and see. So until next time, y'all, bye bye.